Welcome to the brand new Zach Lowe Show. That's right, I'm back to have the same in-depth NBA conversations you're used to. We're going to talk about the games. Yeah, the games, the X's and O's, the drama, the trades, the playoffs are coming up. And now you get to see every episode in full on video on Spotify and on my own YouTube channel. Episodes drop every Monday and Thursday with a collection of guests you're going to love. So make sure you follow and subscribe to the brand new Zach Lowe Show on Spotify or wherever you watch or listen to your podcast. Let's go!
Welcome to the Ringer Fantasy Football Show. My name is Danny Heifetz, and I'm joined by Danny Kelly and Craig Horlbeck. And today we are going over our top 200. Well, that's kind of a lie. Our top 200 players are live on the fantasyfootball.theringer.com. We're not going to go over 200 players right now because that's too many. But we are going to go over the first round. But yes, DK, our fantasy rankings are live at fantasyfootball.theringer.com.
Heck yeah. Go check it out. It's going to be, we're going to, continue to improve the draft guide as it goes along with blurbs and everything that you need. But right now you can go look at our early rankings and make fun of us and get mad at us if you want.
Blurb sounds like one of those workplace platforms.
Blurb? Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
We're going to sign into Blurb.
You log your hours on Blurb.
Oh, we'll come back to this at the end. We'll do some real football here up top. But just a reminder, that guy offered to name a workplace platform for something in Wisconsin, and we have to come up with the name. I think we wanted Dorgle.
It was Fleam.
Fleam? Okay, name the thing Fleam. We voted on it. Anyway, we'll come back to that at the end. Okay, we're going to jump in here. So basically, again, we have our rankings up at fantasyfootball.theringer.com. Dynasty stuff is coming too. Dynasty rankings, all that jazz. I just want to dive in with just straight up like redraft 2025 rankings. The number one player, I feel like there is, and so what we averaged our rankings, and there's really just a two-man race for the number one player for 2025. Our number one player is Jamar Chase, the receiver for the Bengals. You guys had him first and Saquon Barkley second. I had Saquon first and Jamar Chase second. Tomato. Honestly, as I started prepping for this episode, I was like, I probably should have had Chase number one. But I feel like, DK, it's fair to say either of those guys you could take first, and that really is the tier here, is like you could take them first and it's fine. Right. Saquon, Jamar Chase, anyone else, it's okay, but it's probably a little weird to take them over. Is that how you feel?
Yes, no one's going to scoff if you take Saquon Barkley first overall, I don't think.
Well, no, I'm saying Saquon or Chase. I'm saying anyone else you might get scoffed.
Right.
If you take a running back over Saquon, a receiver over Chase, people are going to make a little sound.
Right. And I think both of those are the clear-cut, obvious ones. But also at the same time, while we're talking about this, I just keep getting the thought, like, we're ranking based off of what happened last year. And very likely neither of these two guys are going to be the number one overall player in 2025. That's just kind of how
that
it
never
works.
happens.
Yeah.
And that's what, honestly, that's why Saquon's number two for me, is that I feel like it's just not going to happen again. Like the odds suggest that Saquon he's probably not going to be outside of the top 10 at running back, but he's probably not going to be number one. Like the odds suggest he'll be like fifth.
Well,
just variance.
It could be worse than that, because do you guys want the case for these two or the case against right now?
Give me the case against Saquon and Chase. I think that's more interesting.
Yeah.
That's fair. Because the case for Saquon and Chase is honestly nothing's changed for them. Like that's kind of it. The Bengals brought everyone back. Like Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Mike Gesicki. The Bengals are back. Eagles, nothing changed. That's the case for them. Everyone else, something's different. The case against Saquon is really simple. Saquon touched the football almost 500 times last year.
Mm.
Like he had the most rushing yards in the history of the NFL in a season, if you include the playoffs, like almost 20, like over 2,500 rushing yards. Saquon had like 470 touches, and if you look at the list of guys who had almost 500 touches in a season, I mean, I'm just going to go through this. I mean, first of all, most touches in a decade. Saquon had the most since DeMarco Murray in 2014. The next season, DeMarco Murray played just 8 games. And then Arian Foster had 460 touches in 2012. And the next season, Arian Foster played just 8 games. And then Derrick Henry had crazy carries in like 2019 and 2020. And the next year, Derrick Henry played just 8 games. And then Larry Johnson in 2006 had almost 500 touches. And the next year, he played just 8 games. And then Edgerrin James in 2000, the next season, he played, 6 games. But the point is, it's like really crazy consistently how frequently people with that many touches just played half. They couldn't physically withstand it. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that's like some definite thing for Saquon, but that's the risk.
And it's funny because, Saquon is a guy who's been banged up a little bit in his career. So this is a good argument, Heifetz. It's funny because the one guy who kind of bucks that trend is Derrick Henry, who every year we're like, Derrick Henry's going to fall off. He had 300 plus touches once again. And then every year he's awesome. And yet he's the one guy where every year we go in and we're like, it's over for Derrick Henry. And then he, and then he defies that every single year. And yet we continue to not put him in the top 5. And Saquon is kind of like the opposite of that, where I mean, it kind of happened to Cooper Kupp, where like Cooper Kupp had the giant year and then it never happened again. Not saying that's going to happen to Saquon, but yeah, of course, that's always how it goes. You're going to overpay for Saquon this year because he's probably not going to be the number 1 overall player. Like, you will probably overpay, but you have to. If you want Saquon Barkley, you should have to overpay.
I'm sitting here talking about injuries again in fucking May. I feel like when the Giants took Jackson Dart, all my Giants fan friends were excited, and I watched the Debbie Downer SNL video where they're at Disneyland. And they're taking a picture with Goofy, and Debbie Downer turns to Goofy and is like, "Are you worried about dying in a terrorist attack?" And that's how I feel talking about how Saquon Barkley's going to get hurt in May.
The odds suggest he's not going to hold up again.
That's what outliers are. They're outliers.
He probably statistically can't hold up to the punishing physical toll.
Oh, and I just found out I can't have children.
Oh, God.
No, there are other guys that did it. LaDainian Tomlinson did it a couple years in a row. Zeke, Le'Veon Bell did it 2 years in a row. Maybe that's a bad example because the next year he literally refused to play football. Marshawn Lynch did it 2 years in a row and then retired.
Derrick Henry does it every year.
Derrick Henry does it every year. So the other guy, honestly, Christian McCaffrey did it and then needed a year to, like 2019, and then played 2 games and then he did it. It's happened a lot. But anyway, so that's the argument against Saquon. So yeah, I'll probably move him down from 1 to 2.
But I mean, who else
fair.
are you going to take over first overall?
That's the thing, because
they're still going to give you
tier.
a really high floor, either one of these guys, right?
So,
even if they're not the number 1 player in fantasy again.
Exactly. I mean, every game Saquon plays, we will rank him first. And again, the other thing we didn't mention is that if all these other teams, the cowardly Green Bay Packers and Matt LaFleur, the football genius who frankly scared to compete, succeed in getting the tush push banned. There's a chance Saquon could be even better because that dude had 2,000 rushing yards. He only had 13 touchdowns. I mean, I think if the tush push gets banned, it's fair to say Saquon there's a chance he gets 20 touchdowns. So he could do better. Like, that is absolutely on the table. Even if he goes from 2,000 yards to 17, the touchdowns can make up for that. So we'll see.
Pop quiz. Can you name the Eagles' new offensive coordinator?
Oh, it's some NPC name. I don't remember his name. It's some fake dude. I don't know. No, I've never heard of him.
Kevin Patullo or Patullo.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure.
Nah, that's not
He's
real.
a Sirianni guy, right? I mean, they're all Sirianni guys.
Yeah, he was with the team for since 2021. So he's like the passing game coordinator last year and assistant head coach.
So that's clearly the first tier, right? It is Chase, Saquon, and then there's a tier break. How big do you think the next tier is?
So my tier, and I call this people you could take third and nobody would say anything. Like, no one's going to be like, that's weird. I thought the people you could take third and it's totally fine. And it's our next 4 guys. Bijan Robinson, the running back for the Falcons. Jahmyr Gibbs, running back for the Lions. Justin Jefferson, receiver for the Vikings. CeeDee Lamb, receiver for the Cowboys. I think there is no question you could take those guys third. There's not a peep. If you want to put Derrick Henry in there, just out of principle, that's fine. DK, do you agree with that tier? Like, yes. Those guys go third.
That's like
fine.
fantasy. That's fantasy royalty right there. Other than Chase and Barkley, I feel like some combination of those guys are going to go in the top 6, basically in almost every draft. Other than maybe some rookie, some rookie might sneak in there, and we'll talk about him in a little bit here.
Can I ask you guys a question? I want to double click on something, as the kids say. Kids don't say that.
You say flick at it.
People trying to sound like kids say that. Justin Jefferson, I have him 6th. You both have him 4th. Are you guys not a little worried about the fact that there's this quarterback, JJ McCarthy, throwing to him, who's never played an NFL game, coming off a pretty weird knee injury, who had pretty limited production at Michigan, and we're all just kind of like ranking Justin Jefferson kind of at the exact same place we always do. And I know that, sure, Kevin O'Connell, the head coach of the Vikings, like, made Josh Dobbs relevant for a month, basically made Sam Darnold $100 million. I know the guy's kind of like a magician. But does that worry you at all? Because to me, when I look at somebody like Amon-Ra St. Brown, I'm like, man, is the upside of Justin Jefferson really worth the downside of JJ McCarthy being awful compared to somebody like Amon-Ra St. Brown, who was just like 1,300 yards, 12 touchdowns every year?
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I mentioned this in January when we did our blind rankings when the season ended, and I had Justin Jefferson lower, and you guys screamed at me.
Well, you had him like really low, I think.
I had him like 10th because of the JJ McCarthy thing, and you guys called me insane.
I don't know if that was me. That's probably DK.
I'd have to go back and check the tape on that one. I don't remember that specifically, but you're right. These are all salient points, Craig. I think, yeah, because you're saying like sort of is the upside worth the risk of the downside? I think if you're going for floor, Amon-Ra St. Brown 100% makes sense, taking him over a guy like Jefferson. But I just think we've seen the ceiling of what Jefferson can do.
If you go to Pro Football Reference on Justin Jefferson, his yards per game is in gold. It's like a little highlight because that's when he's the all-time leader in something. You get a little gold thing. Justin Jefferson's the all-time leader in receiving yards per game at 96.5. Literally the all-time leader.
I think it's really just it's almost like a respect ranking. You respect the player so much it almost doesn't matter what the quarterback situation is. I mean, last year Sam Darnold was like coming into the year. Did you expect Sam Darnold to do that? Not to say that that's what JJ McCarthy's going to do because it's a whole different ball game. But I don't know. I just feel like it probably is a rank and not think too much about it type of situation for me where I was just like, Justin Jefferson goes here because
it just feels like we're putting him at best case scenario. Like last year, he was the third best wide receiver in fantasy on a points per game basis, right? Number 3. And I'm like, all right, so he was the third best wide receiver with Sam Darnold having, the 99th percentile of outcomes that could have possibly happened for Sam Darnold. And it's like, so basically for Justin Jefferson to deliver on where you're taking him, JJ McCarthy would need to have Sam Darnold's season last year.
Well, first of all, no, because Justin Jefferson's had 1,400 yards receiving every season of his career, with the exception of the one time he hurt his hamstring. And that season,
but he was doing it with Kirk Cousins, who's a good, competent quarterback, and then Sam Darnold, who had an all-time season.
I agree. I think Vikings fans are losing their mind. You're right. The argument for Justin Jefferson is he's genuinely probably going to go down as one of the 10 best receivers in NFL history. Like Justin Jefferson, actually incredible. I agree, though. You know what I don't like about the JJ McCarthy thing? Because he was hurt, and I feel like there was a setback with his knee and the knee meniscus, and also he's basically one of the first quarterbacks to ever be taken in the first round. He's going to miss his whole year for injury. And now it's like we hear from him, and it's kind of like we're getting sign to life update. It's like the idea that he appears in public, at one of these practices, and it's like, he's alive, thank God. And I'm like,
I don't like that they're like flirting with Rodgers, that there's reports that like they might think about bringing in another quarterback. I'm like, I just don't like any of that.
I think it's just one of those you have to accept the range of outcomes. I think there's a chance that JJ McCarthy getting mental reps for a year and he's doing virtual reality or whatever and he comes in and he's fine. But I agree, we are fundamentally expecting him to do something that he's never done, which is support an actual high-octane offense. Yeah.
It's the Oculus is going to save JJ McCarthy's career.
All this being said, Craig, you have him ranked 2 whole spots different than us.
Yeah,
that means a lot at the top.
Craig's like, I draw the
Craig's
line.
like, I'm smart. You're stupid.
You guys are not worrying about this enough.
25% lower than you. That's pretty big.
Craig's grand plan is I'm going to move him behind CD and fucking Jahmyr Gibbs. That's your grand.
That's fine. I get that. That's fine.
Yeah, we're splitting hairs up here at the top. These are the best of the best. LeBron being the second best of all time versus the best of all time is a big difference.
I'm probably going to
move the fucking goalposts.
I'm going to move Justin Jefferson after this, probably.
Nice.
Craig's going to win his battle from 4th to 6th.
Move him to 6th overall.
I think, okay, wait, can I just I want to make my case for CeeDee Lamb. I want to talk about CeeDee Lamb because I have him above Justin Jefferson, and I feel like he's going to be, there's always a couple stars who have a mediocre year for whatever reason the year before, and he's kind of already had his like famous big breakout moment. He became awesome. Then the next year it didn't work out. And then he kind of settles in this, in the court of public opinion where it's like, oh yeah, everybody knows CeeDee Lamb is good, but like, he's not as sexy as Jamar Chase. He's not as sexy as Justin Jefferson. You have guys like Brian Thomas and whatever, Nico, like there's just like new names that have been Puka Nacua that are like now in the conversation. And I feel like CD, who just a year ago had 1,700 yards, just like Justin Jefferson did, or just like Jamar Chase did last year. CeeDee Lamb is now getting theoretically a healthy Dak Prescott back. There's really still no other wide receivers there for CeeDee Lamb. And last year, Dak got hurt. He had the hamstring injury, missed half the season. When he was playing with Dak Prescott, he averaged 15.2 points a game, which was the wide receiver 4. And so I'm like, I kind of think CeeDee Lamb's floor and ceiling is higher than Justin Jefferson's.
Yeah,
I have no argument with that. I mean, CeeDee Lamb, like he's probably going to lead the NFL in targets. The other thing with CeeDee Lamb is it's totally possible CeeDee Lamb is still getting better. CeeDee Lamb is Tyler Shuck's age.
he's like, I can't believe it, but I feel like CeeDee Lamb is kind of boring. Is not the right word because he's not boring, but like, I don't know, the Cowboys, there's just something about them and him that's like not sexy, I think, in fantasy right now.
No, that's a good point because I see what you're saying though, because weirdly for a guy that is the receiver for the Dallas Cowboys, CeeDee Lamb is almost just kind of hand-waved into this conversation with all these great receivers where I think, frankly, because the LSU guys just get all the shine nowadays between like Jefferson and Jamar Chase and Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas, and CeeDee's just kind of there. But frankly, I think the biggest moment of CeeDee's year last year was being blinded in the sun during the Eagles game. Like that was the most notable thing that happened to him the entire year, was him being like, I would like curtains. And Jerry Jones was like, no. Like that was the biggest thing that happened to him.
I know, like I'm trying to think of the comp for him and like the NBA or something, but he's just like maybe the best receiver in the league. And he's not really discussed as much. People would still put him there, obviously, but in terms of fantasy, I feel like
maybe where Devin Booker was 2 years ago before the Suns imploded. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if it's like, I don't know.
But anyway, I see what you're saying. I have no argument. I think you could take CD3. You could take CD2 if you really wanted to. But no, CD's incredible. And I think he's right there with CD and Jefferson. And the other two is Bijan and Jahmyr Gibbs. You guys have Bijan Robinson 3. I have him behind Jahmyr Gibbs, but I think this is another example, just like you're saying CD Jefferson. Similar thing to me where Jahmyr Gibbs, the question is it's just like there's no questions about Gibbs. Like he's incredible. He's young. He's like so fun to watch. He's like a fun player to have on your team. And the question is just honestly, Ben Johnson left the Lions. It's the same question for Jahmyr Gibbs as it is for Amon-Ra. It's just like, okay, like what if the team gets worse because Ben Johnson left? And then there's Bijan, who was just consistently like just the top 4 running back the entire season and exploded actually when Michael Penix took over. And you can go with whatever order. I kind of want Jahmyr Gibbs because like he actually wants to be a football player and Bijan Robinson actually wants to be an actor, which is kind of my tiebreaker. I don't know about you.
Such a boomer take. Good Lord. I think I have a hard time like differentiating between the two because I think they're both sick. So with Gibbs, obviously, like you said, the question is, what will the offense be like with Ben Johnson gone? How different will it be, if at all different? Maybe they'll just kind of continue chugging along because they have such good talent. The thing that came to mind when I was thinking about Gibbs was something that Craig would say every fucking week on Sundays, like, oh, look, here comes another Lions rushing touchdown. Like, because I don't remember, you had like Amon-Ra St. Brown.
I had Jared Goff, and he would never fucking throw the ball inside the 10.
Craig's like, great, they're in the red zone again. Here comes another fucking rushing touchdown. So last year, the Lions ranked second in rushing touchdowns. They scored 29 rushing touchdowns as a team. And then the year before that, they were tied for first with 27 rushing touchdowns. So I guess the concern would be with Gibbs is just regression to the mean in terms of the amount of times they score on the ground. Like maybe Goff is just going to toss 40 touchdowns this year and it's just going to look a little different.
Well, that reminds me of a different Craigism from last year, which is fantasy offseason, which is where we're like, the Lions led the league in touchdowns. That's bad. right. They score so many touchdowns that's terrible. They'll score less going forward. You want one of the teams that had fewer touchdowns because they'll score more.
I don't have strong opinions between Bijan and Gibbs, to be honest. I feel like
they're so in the same tier. And I think that I feel so strongly the top 6 is, or not the top 6, but they're like Jamar Chase you could take first. But these 6 players, as DK said, I think is perfect. Fantasy royalty: Chase, Saquon, Bijan, Gibbs, Jefferson, CD, top 6, and then. It depends if you want to put Derrick Henry there, because part of me, you could be like, that's the definition of fantasy royalty. The flip side is you're basically betting on a 31-year-old running back for like what feels like the first time ever, as like a top 5 pick. We have the next 6 players we have here. We have Amon-Ra. And I'm curious where. So, I, for lack of a better term, I have this tier as guys you could take 7th with a straight face. I kind of had
okay. That's the most Bill Simmons ranking of all time.
Yeah. Well, sorry.
The top 13 guys that you could take in the top 35.
But I mean it, though, because if you have the 5th pick and you grab one of these other guys, I'm a little, I don't know, there's better people available. But you look at, I think there's 7 players you could take with the 7th pick. Like Amon-Ra, Derrick Henry, Ashton Genty, Brian Thomas, Malik Neighbors, Nico Collins, Puka, Devon H. I think you could take any of those guys at the 7th pick, honestly.
Sure.
I think I generally agree with that. We're all a little bit, the biggest difference is here is DK and I have Brian Thomas much higher than you do, DH. Is that because You think Travis Hunter's going to come in and take over Jacksonville, and Brian Thomas is going to fall back a little bit?
Well, they're going to have Brian
Heifetz doesn't
Thomas play
think
cornerback.
The greatest player in football history is going to take over. Yeah.
No, as I was looking at this, I was like, I am wrong. Brian Thomas needs to be higher, and I need to update my ranking, and I will do it after the show. Because Brian Thomas, I have him 17th, and frankly, it's just like I have a giant tier of 17 players that I think are like the top 17 guys, and I was just wrong. Like Brian Thomas, the more I think about it, I'm actually really excited about that Jaguars team and Liam Cohen in Jacksonville, and I think Brian Thomas absolutely. I think if there's a guy that you're going to throw a dart here of just who actually will finish as the number one receiver that you. Isn't like a take to say top 5, but sounds like a take to say number 1. I would be less surprised at Brian Thomas being the number 1 receiver than I actually would about like Malik Neighbors, Nico, Puka Nacua. Like I kind of think Brian Thomas could be a fucking monster this year. DK, am I crazy?
No, not at all. I think the thing holding Brian Thomas back, it's beating a dead horse at this point, but his name is just so generic that it's like
him and John Taylor.
It's like actually hard to get excited about a guy named Brian Thomas. I don't know why. Like that's just.
I know the junior helps a little bit.
It does.
It gives it something. BTJ maybe.
But he was honestly so good last year. Obviously, it flew under the radar for a number of reasons. Jags weren't good, all that stuff. But he's still
Jacksonville
ascending.
Jaguars, Brian Thomas.
Yeah,
and then the other one's Malik Neighbors in New York.
Right.
And Marvin Harrison Jr. Not that he was that great, but like there was just already 2 more famous receivers in his class.
And Rome Odunze, who didn't do all that much as a rookie either, but he was like, I think, generally considered to be above him when we were talking about the draft.
And even like throw in like Brock Bowers. There was just like a lot of famous pass catchers last year.
Can you imagine if Brian Thomas had been named Rome Odunze and did what he did last year?
But so if you look at what he did, he averaged 14.2 half PPR points per game, which was the wide receiver 12. He was a wide receiver 1 as a rookie, 75 yards per game, which is 11th, 25% target rate, which is elite, almost 8 targets per game. And he did that on like fewer targets than the average guy. He's a big play threat. And then you add in this Liam Cohen factor, which I'm very excited about. Last year with Baker Mayfield at quarterback, and obviously the Bucs had a really good receiving core, but
so Liam Cohen was the offensive coordinator for Tampa Bay the last couple of years, and I was the head coach of the Jaguars after he overthrew Littlefinger from Jacksonville and took the job.
Right. So Baker Mayfield at quarterback. Bucs were 2nd in the NFL in pass touchdowns. They averaged the 6th most plays per game. So there's tons of plays to be had and potential in this offense. 5th in completions per game, 4th in points per game, and 3rd in success rate. Overall, I just think this offensive ecosystem has a chance to be like way better based on the scheming, and hopefully Trevor Lawrence can finally take that jump that we've all kind of been waiting for. Obviously, adding Travis Hunter is big. That could be kind of a downside too, because maybe Travis Hunter steals some of the target rate that Brian Thomas is getting. But I think ultimately, at the end of the day, it's going to be more of a rising tide raises all ships type of deal because the offense is just going to be better.
I agree. I don't get too tied up with like, oh, there's another good wide receiver on the team. It's like Jordan Addison is with Justin Jefferson. Jamar Chase has T. Higgins. Like that doesn't really bother me at all. I mean, he was a rookie who had 1,300 yards and 10 touchdowns last year on the Jags. And it's like Liam Cohen, Trevor Lawrence, I still think is good. And I still believe that like he could still take another step forward. And so I don't really care that Travis Hunter's there. A rookie getting 1,310 touchdowns. It's like, I mean,
I know.
What else do you need to see?
Yeah, I agree. I need to be higher on Brian Thomas. I think my question is, would you guys, Craig, you have Brian Thomas 7th and Malik Neighbors 13th.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you hate Malik Neighbors?
If it was Malik Neighbors Jr., that'd be really cool, but it's not. The only reason why I have them 6 spots apart, maybe they should be a little closer, but it's not anything to do with talent. I think if Malik Neighbors were on the I just honestly am like quarterback and coach, like to be honest, or I'm maybe not coach, but like it's just the offensive situation. I think, and I don't trust whatever's going on with Russell Wilson and Jameis and Dart. And I'm just like Trevor Lawrence and Liam Cohen is something I feel like I can depend on much more than I can with whatever's going on with the Giants.
I just had an idea. I think I might have just revolutionized fantasy football.
Okay.
Should we do our receiver rankings when we do our, should we actually, every time we say the name, should we make it a rule you have to say the name of the receiver and the quarterback?
Yeah.
So because that's kind of solves what we're talking about, where it's like number 1, Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow, tier of their own. And then it's like CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott, Justin Jefferson and JJ McCarthy. And it kind of speaks for itself what we're trying to say, because I think Brian Thomas Jr. and Trevor Lawrence, Malik Neighbors and Russell Wilson.
Yeah,
Jamie, you know,
probably.
yeah. Part of me is like,
it's
the
like
name
reading
on
the
its own.
calories next to the menu item, you know, at the Cheesecake Factory.
This one has
You're like,
high
the Chinese
fructose
chicken
corn
salad
syrup.
is 1,600 calories.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, it's
maybe
like
I'll skip that one.
I'm looking at this and I have Puka Nacua below Malik Neighbors. But if you said I have Puka Nacua and Matthew Stafford, I'm going to move him over Malik Neighbors and Russell Wilson. And as I'm looking at it, Nico Collins and CJ Stroud, I'm like, maybe Craig's right. Maybe I should move Neighbors down. I don't really want to live like that.
Look, it goes back to I have the worst fucking attorneys. I just would like a good quarterback with my receivers. Sue me.
DK, I'm like
me.
half kidding, but actually, should that not just, I mean, is it kind of deductive? But part of me is like, that probably should be the fucking tiebreaker, shouldn't it? I mean, at the end of the day, it's like a lot of these guys are tied to really
Tiebreaker,
talented
yes.
quarterbacks.
I think it should be the tiebreaker. Yes, I agree with that. Generally speaking, there have been good fantasy receivers with bad quarterbacks before, but yes, in terms of just like
Name
the
one.
very top. Oh yeah, you like them so much. Why don't you name the top 5? I don't know off the top of my head right now, Craig. Look, it's
tough
May.
beat.
It's May. My brain
I don't
is
actually
dead.
remember what DK was already saying.
Yeah.
That we have to
He
name.
was saying there are
it's
good
soccer,
receivers
Craig.
with bad quarterbacks.
It's
I was like,
soccer.
okay,
I
name
can name
10.
one. Malik Neighbors last year.
Yeah, there we go. That's a good example.
Name 5 more. How about that? No, yeah. So that's probably the right way we should go about this, which, you know, it's why I have a guy like Nico Collins kind of high, because I'm like, I just would rather have somebody in an offense where when it's 3rd and 9, which it is a lot for Houston, I can rely on the quarterback to make a good throw and make a good decision and move the chains.
I also think my resolution for fantasy this year is more than ever, not like entirely, but I'm going to try to take 80% of the logic we usually use with fantasy. And I'm going to try to add in the 20%, trying to account for the actual experience you will have watching these goddamn games. And the Malik Neighbors thing, as exciting as he is as a player, you're going to want on Sundays to have, like, the margins really are so thin that, like, I'm going to want to watch CJ Stroud throw to Nico Collins more than I'm going to watch Russell Wilson throw to Neighbors. It's going to just be tougher. So part of me is like, that's kind of in the back of my brain. As like, you know, if Jameis is throwing, maybe you have to average it, because the Jameis to Neighbors experience, if he plays at all, would be pretty spiritual. But you're probably going to ask
Heifetz.
Jackson Dart playing instead.
Question for you, as a Giants fan, is the joy of betting on Malik Neighbors on your fantasy team and having both the Giants play well while having Malik Neighbors on your fantasy team, is the joy of that stronger than the pain of drafting Malik Neighbors and having him suck for fantasy and the Giants are terrible? Like, which would you rather, which is a stronger feeling?
I think I feel very strongly about this, but this is very much like a personality type thing. It's kind of whether you hedge your bets or not. I think my brother refuses to draft. Obviously, we're all Giants fans in my family, and my brother refuses to draft like Eagles or Cowboys because he hates them. And I have no problem with that. One, because I'm just more of a realist, and I mean the Giants are like 2-16 against the Eagles in the last 18 games. But also, I'm just like, well, the worst case is if the Eagles are bad, then like, all right, then you know what I mean? I don't care that much. But honestly, Craig, it's been so long since the Giants were good in fantasy that I barely know. I don't know, man. I can't.
But like those
it's
seasons
so
when you
new
had
to me to have
Saquon,
good players.
like, did
I
it
know.
hurt? Did it hurt more if you would draft Saquon and then he was like banged up all year and the Giants suck?
I think
Rather
for
than you draft Saquon, the Giants make the playoffs and he's awesome, and you're like, man, what is worth it for you?
You know, I actually don't think I could have answered this until the last year. Saquon being good in fantasy was like completely disconnected from whether the Giants were good or not, because he's a running back. I actually do want Malik Neighbors on my team. Like, I enjoy having Malik Neighbors. It is fun.
You're
It is
willing to
crazy.
risk it being a disaster, even just because having him would be awesome if it worked out.
Yeah, I think I'm there. I kind of just want him on my team. Like, it's so crazy to have like such a talented player.
He
Kinda feel the way about
he
Scattergood,
averaged
too.
11.3 targets a game last year, which
Dude.
is by far the most.
Neighbors, I mean, dude, the Neighbors stats are crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
literally the first 4 weeks of the season, he was straight up like a top 3 receiver. Like the second half of the year, Neighbors was second in targets, but tied for 26th in touchdowns. So, yeah. Neighbors, I can already see he's going to get so mad at Russell Wilson. It's going to be unbelievable. The other guys I want to talk about here, DK, where are you taking Ashton Genty for the Raiders? I think it's you could convince me he should go 7th, and you kind of convinced me he should actually go 15th. He's still a rookie running back.
Yeah. No, I think you could make the argument that he goes right after Gibbs and Robinson, honestly. just because of scarcity of guys who are going to be 3-down backs in this season. Obviously, Gibbs is not even really that, but he's just on such a good offense. Genty landing with Pete Carroll is so great because you have to think Pete Carroll wants to make him the focal point of the offense. I think this offense could be more functional than you think it will be because they went traded for Geno Smith. They already have Brock Bowers, Jacoby Myers, Genty. And yeah, I mean, just in terms of volume, fresh legs relative to most of the guys in the NFL at this point, but tackle breaking, creation, just what they want him to be in their offense. The fact he was the 6th overall pick. If you look back throughout history, the top 10 running backs almost immediately are always, top 5, top 10 running backs in fantasy. So there's a handful of like outliers there, but for the most part, if you're a top 10 pick at running back, you're going to produce right away.
I can't tell I think the stink of the Raiders is still there. It's still odorous enough where when I think of Genty on the Raiders, I'm like, well, it's the Raiders. And then I'm like, well, yeah, but you have Pete Carroll now and you have Chip Kelly. You have a real quarterback in Geno Smith. Like there are pieces here. I don't know it's like finding out like Christopher Nolan's directing a Batman film. I got this superhero movie.
That's
You're like, well,
one.
Actually,
yeah,
it is Chris Nolan. So maybe this will end up being really good. I think I have to kind of retrain my brain to think about the Raiders in a different way now that they have so many competent pieces making the puzzle. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This discussion reminds me a little bit of what we were talking about with Marvin Harrison last year, where we were, Harrison was this generational prospect. He went 3rd or 4th or whatever it was to the Cardinals, went to an offense with a good quarterback, and they just didn't really mesh that well. And he had a really slow start of the season. But I really don't see that happening with Genty. I bring that up just because it did happen so recently, but like Genty, I think is a totally different story.
What is the worst case? Is the worst case with Genty? He has like a Leonard Fournette season where he just like runs into an 8-man box every down and he gets 300 touches for 1,200 yards and he just kind of goes nowhere.
Literally, yes. It's exactly what you just said. And he plays well enough that you're going to play him every week. And he's not even bad. He just isn't special. You take him first. Everyone gets you riled up about Genty, and then you play him every week, and he's like indistinguishable from, James Conner's just lapping him every week. And you're kind of like, why the fuck did I take
James
this guy?
Conner. Yeah.
Like, I think
it's always James Conner.
Yeah, that's fantasy football.
Because when you take Genty, you're envisioning, frankly, Adrian Peterson like coming out as like 1,700 rushing yards, and you're like, I'm getting a Hall of Fame running back. And
there's also like there's not very much competition in the backfield in Las Vegas. I don't know. It just sets up.
He's gonna play. It's just you're gonna pay for the ceiling.
I want to talk about another running back who's going right near him, who I can't believe I have him ranked the highest because I historically like this guy kind of doesn't do it for me because it's so nerve-wracking. But Devon Achane, the running back on the Dolphins, I have him 10th. Heifetz has him 13th. DK 15th. And I can't help. I obviously know the risk is that, look, when Tua gets hurt, it's a completely different situation. And that's kind of all it is. But, man, when Tua did play last year, he was the number 2 running back in fantasy.
Dude, I literally have that. So I think I have slightly different numbers. Well, I took out week 18 just for a variety of reasons. But if you take out week 18, Devon Achane, with Tua in the lineup, I had number 3 fantasy, 20 points per game, basically.
Yeah.
Which over the course of the season, that's like the number 3 running back. Basically tied with Derrick Henry. Like, so Devon Achane's like Derrick Henry good.
Achane and Henry staying next to each other.
Oh my God. It's like the photo of Altuve and Aaron Judge. But yeah, then Devon Achane without Tua starting, so not including week 18, Achane had 5.5 points per game. 5.5. So that's equivalent to the number 51 running back last year, 5.5 points per game. So Achane is Derrick Henry with Tua in the lineup. He is Devin Singletary without Tua. And
once
so,
again,
that's
Tua for MVP.
Oh, get out of here. No, Dolphins for LVP for being completely unprepared. Why the fuck do the Dolphins, every year they're caught by total fucking surprise that Tua is injured?
Yeah, there's nothing like softer, more flaccid than the Dolphins offense without Tua in it. It's just horrific. Hard to watch. It's the worst.
And that's the thing, is you're tying yourself to the Dolphins and you're going to feel like a genius and an idiot probably multiple times if you have HN. And you, to Craig's point, like the upside is right there with Gibbs and Bijan. I think it's just, you are betting on Tua staying healthy. Like you are.
Yeah, it's just far more volatile.
The Dolphins, Zach Wilson's the backup now. You're going to be, if Tua gets hurt again, you're going to be watching Zach Wilson throw in this offense. and Quinn Ewers. Why is that the plan?
It's a philosophical debate, basically, on how you like to draft. Because if you're sitting there at the end of the first round, if you like the 12th, 13th pick, and Achane is sitting there, it's like that's a real Ricky Bobby first or last. Like if you want to go for it, hey, it's like they're not giving out awards for third or fourth. Like you might as well just take Achane, and you have a chance to get the number one running back in the league.
I don't understand. DK, why is Joe Flacco in Cleveland and not Miami?
He might be eventually. I mean, I feel like Cleveland has too many quarterbacks at this point. But yeah, I mean, I don't know why they didn't do more to solve the backup quarterback situation in Miami. Like Zach Wilson, are you serious? He couldn't beat out Jarrett Stidham last year. What are we doing here? Right? Wasn't he on the Broncos? I can't even remember where he was.
Yeah. Him and Bo Nix.
Sean Payton gave up on him.
Brother villains in a Disney movie.
Heifetz, you're absolutely right. I don't understand the lack of a backup plan there in terms of this is a team that the offense completely falls apart when the starting quarterback is gone.
I don't want to be dramatic. It's the defining feature of the Dolphins is too is injuries. It's the defining aspect of the team.
Who else besides Flacco do you think would make a lot of sense there? Like,
oh my God, Jacoby Brissett went to Arizona. Why is Jacoby? I don't think he's great, but like he's better than Zach Wilson.
Yeah, I mean even like Jameis,
that's a great example.
It won't surprise me if by the time the regular season rolls around, they have a different backup quarterback.
Even Jimmy G or something. Like there's guys out there.
I mean, we don't have to. I don't think this is
Jimmy
interesting.
G could do what Tua does, like 80% of it.
I mean, I don't dude. We could scroll through right now. I'm willing to say this.
Carson Wentz is still out there.
All right, good. Yeah.
Okay, we're getting kind of ridiculous.
They
didn't re-sign Pro Bowler Tyler Huntley, did they?
Pro Bowler Tyler Huntley. The other person I want to throw out real quick, Puka Nacua. Craig and I have Puka 14th, which I think I might move him up. DK, you have him 9th. Puka, I'm not going to lie. Looking back at Puka, I think I underrated Puka because
I did too, but
I have
a reason.
So Puka missed 5 of the first 6 weeks. And then when he came back, so week 8 on, Puka Nacua was just straight up the top 4 receiver in fantasy. It was like Jamar Chase, it was Mike Evans, T. Higgins, and Puka. And Puka led all receivers in yards per route run. And so the Rams signed Devontae Adams. So DK, is your issue with Puka, Craig, is your issue with Puka, is it Devontae Adams signing or is it Puka looking like he's injured on every single time he gets tackled?
Both, I think, are. I would say I'm giving equal weight to both. Yeah, Devontae Adams, I don't know. It's like, is he going to have 7, 8, 9, 10 touchdowns? Like that right there is already tough. And yeah, Puka Nacua is like the Eric Burns of football players. I don't know if you remember Eric Burns, the outfielder for like the Diamondbacks and the A's and stuff, where he would just go balls to the walls on every fly ball. It could be the second inning in June, and Eric Burns is sprinting into the back wall and dislocating his shoulder.
Wow,
and
that's such a deep cut. That is, oh my God, wait, that's such a good comp.
Like, he needs to talk to Tyler Lockett.
He played 11 games last year. Like, I don't know. It feels like his ceiling is like 14.
Craig, he was injured in college as well.
Well, and that's why, that's one of the reasons he was a 5th rounder it was a medical thing to Puka as well.
And so, I don't know. He's like the SpongeBob. Like every morning I break my legs and every night I break my arms. Like that is Puka Nacua. And if I could guarantee 17 games, I'd probably take him 5th.
I like that. I like DK pretending to smile through as if he knew that reference. That was good.
No, you know what I was thinking that while Craig was talking?
Chocolate bar episode.
I was literally thinking, I went on a walk this morning. I was literally thinking about Puka Nacua and the fact that the Rams took tight end Davis Allen like 6 or 7 picks before they picked Puka Nacua in the 5th round. I just think the draft is so funny how this all fucking works. The Rams are not some brilliant fucking team because they took Puka Nacua.
They're
you know what I mean?
Man, it's just need. Yeah.
They took Davis Allen like 6 or 7 picks before they picked Puka Nacua in the 5th round or 4th round or whatever. What round was it? 5th round?
5th.
But like, I just think it's so funny how this all works. Lamar Jackson, the Ravens' 2nd pick in the 1st round behind Hayden Hurst.
I'll never get over that.
Who's not even in the league now.
I'll never get over the Hayden Hurst over shit. Lamar.
So anyways, but you were just Heifetz, you mentioned like why he fell in the draft because of medicals and he wasn't even like a full-time player for his college team because he kept getting hurt.
Puka's a good example of Craig identified this, and I'm also trying to remember. This is a real thing. There is some indeterminable amount of time that will come off your life. having Puka Nacua on your fantasy team.
Not
Because
worth it.
even if he doesn't get hurt, you're going to think Puka's gotten hurt like 50 times. Maybe that's an hour, but it might be like a year of like off your life, which that's not worth it.
Yeah, he's like a really spicy chicken tender or something like that. You're like, man, it tastes good, but like, is it really going to be worth it? Like the indigestion that Puka Nacua brings you every Sunday, he needs to come with some Tums when you pick him.
I just think the connection he has with Stafford, though, is, I mean, you just have to bet on that. That's how I feel about it. That's why I've got him quite a bit higher than you guys.
Even though it's
Stafford
funny
is
that
the
I'm like
kingmaker, man.
And I'm making the case for Devon Achane and then now making the case against Puka Nacua.
We should keep track of all the contradictory things we do in our rankings constantly.
Craig passionately being like, we're crazy on Jefferson, and he's got him like 2 spots off.
I do this shit all the time too.
I know he means I'm going to do this right now. Brock Bowers, I have him too high, but I don't care.
I'm
15th overall.
fine with it. Yeah.
You have Brock Bowers 17th. I have him 11th. I know that's probably dumb. Like, you probably shouldn't take Brock Bowers 11th because at the end of the day, everything I'm about to say, he did it one time. Having said that, Brock Bowers had the most catches for a rookie ever. Not a receiver, like just a player, like a rookie player. I know his 17th game. Whatever. Don't care. He's a tight end. Mm-hmm. He literally has more catches than Puka Nacua did when he broke the record for it. And then on top of it, Bowers had 153 targets. That's preposterous. Like, he's a tight end. Literally, in the 21st century, the only tight ends who have had 150 targets in one season, Travis Kelce did it twice, Mark Andrews did it once, Zach Ertz did it once. That's it, Brock Bowers last season. That's not rookie years. That's just ever. And so the idea that Brock Bowers did it immediately, look, you probably shouldn't because, I mean, it's
There's
a new
so
offense.
many variables.
It's a new offensive coordinator. It's Chip Kelly. They could use him differently. Like, it's a new coach. They probably want to run the ball more. Like, it's just there's a lot of shit. He did it once. Like, Kyle Pitts at 1,000 yards his first season. We thought he'd be the alpha and omega. Like, so you probably shouldn't. Having said that, what if Bowers just gets better and you didn't take, and he's a tight end and he's just like one of the top 6 receiver productions in terms of catches and targets in the NFL, and you could have him at tight end and you don't.
Bowers is one of the few players in the NFL that it just makes you feel good inside to have him in your lineup. You know what I mean? It's just, it feels like you got that trump card that you can play. It's like an ace up your sleeve. I got Bowers, so nothing else matters.
Yeah.
Especially
What a
tight end
name.
position. Tight end position is like I hate the tight end position for so many reasons.
That's the other thing you're doing is you're just being like, I'm out.
I'm taking Bowers so I don't have to think about it anymore.
Heifetz, I very much agree with you. I have no problem with taking Bowers anywhere between, like, whatever. You have him 11th, we have him 17th. Like, I think that's totally fine. The only place where I have a nit to pick with you is you have Brock Bowers at 11 and you have Trey McBride at 26. And to me,
I would probably move him to 22. You're probably right.
I think they should. I mean, I think if Brock's 11, Trey should be 12. Like, I really think they should be right next to each other. I mean, if you look at what they did last year, Trey McBride scored 0.02 less points than Brock Bowers per game. And he scored 2 touchdowns that season. Trey McBride had 1 less catch in 1 less game and 50 less yards in 1 less game than Brock Bowers. They essentially had the exact same season. Trey McBride just scored 2 touchdowns. And I'm kind of like, do you feel that much better about the Vegas offense versus the Arizona offense? Do you feel that much better about Geno versus Kyler? Like, what is the situation in which you think Brock Bowers is so much higher than Trey McBride in terms of outcomes?
No, it's really fair because of when did McBride? He didn't even have a receiving touchdown until like week 17, right?
No, he like recovered a fumble in the end zone. That was the only touchdown he had for 15
his rushing
weeks.
touchdown. No, it's super fair. I think my concern is I want to dive into Arizona's offense more this offseason. I keep just wondering, like, is Marvin Harrison actually going to be like a really good value and like a lot of Trey McBride coming back around? But no, you're right that I think the top tier is definitely Bowers and McBride. And you could absolutely argue, to your point, McBride is actually a great 2nd round pick. So no, I have no qualms with that, and I'll move him up. But
we're being so amicable and nice on this pod.
Oh, you want to do so? All right, fine. Here,
we're like, that's a good point. I'll move him up.
That's he knows the. That's he knows the offense.
I'm fucking moving him back, Craig. Fuck you.
I'm gonna move him further back. I'm gonna fucking put him in the 4th round.
You think you're better than me?
Fuck Trey McBride.
You think you're the only one who could read stats?
Fine, let me pick something I think Craig's wrong on.
Yeah, go ahead, hammer me.
No, I'm not. I was gonna say something I'm not.
Let's see. I'm looking at Craig's rankings here. Let's see.
This is a good segment.
You guys
scroll through one guy's rankings and just demolish them.
Tyreek Hill 16th is
What the
ridiculous. Should that be
Higgins?
our
What-
thing this offseason? We should look through rankings like, wrong.
Dumb. Wait, you're saying T. Higgins because I have him higher than you? He was the wide receiver 4 last year. Why the fuck is he low now? What changed?
Literally
I don't
nothing.
understand it. I don't understand, to be honest. I even think I have him too low. Like, why is T. Higgins not like 10th?
Oh, he got paid.
Oh, he's unmotivated now.
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem.
Right.
Joe Burrow doesn't need. The problem was Joe Burrow needed to get these guys all their money, and now they got like $300 million between them, and so they're gonna,
You know what I
it's
mean?
just a
Though,
long
like,
con.
genuinely, like,
Yeah.
like we always used to rank Mike Evans and Godwin super high. Like, why is T. Higgins outside the top 30?
I mean, honestly, it's just these other
Just
guys had him
'cause?
over one. It's just because it feels weird to put even a team like the Bengals 2 over the other guys' 1s. Like, it just feels weird.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and one of the reasons T. Higgins finishes that high is he's healthy, and like, frankly, Puka got hurt, Neighbors got hurt, Nico Collins got hurt, not for the whole season, but like they just miss games, and I think that's kind of what it's about. It's kind of hard to figure
he
who's
is
going to miss
banged up.
time, but I mean, T. Higgins is great. I think the larger conversation is what?
Even
Fuck,
then,
I'm
he's
being
like, yeah,
amicable again.
good
Shit.
point. Yeah.
T.
You're so
Higgins is
agreeable.
great.
Heifetz, you have Brees Hall way higher than all of us. Explain.
Well, you remember, you never seen Lord of the Rings, the 2 buildings, but there's this thing that happens when there's like this spell by this guy and by this dark wizard, and they like exile this dark wizard, and then guy gets like 50 years younger. And that's Brees Hall without Aaron Rodgers. Like Brees Hall with Aaron Rodgers, just, Aaron Rodgers was vamping all of his youth from Brees Hall, and without him, I think it's going to be all fixed. But I have Brees Hall 28th, even 41st.
Yeah, you couldn't pay me. I'm actually fully prepared for Brees Hall to have a great year. He will have a good year. I should probably take him out of my own spite.
Okay, fine. This is more fun. You're right. We should just look at other people's rankings and be like,
Just go.
stupid. Okay, I got it. I got one.
Mm-hmm.
Craig.
Yeah.
Bull
It's always
fucking
me.
shit. You have Jackson Smith and Jigba ranked over Josh Allen, Lamar, Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts. Bull fucking shit. You actually feel that way.
We're talking single QB?
Yeah. There's no chance that you will feel good about taking Jackson Smith and Jigba over Jaden Daniels, Josh Allen. Like, there's no chance you're going to be like, hell yeah. I don't want one of them quarterbacks on my team.
do this is like Gestapo level interrogations of each other's like rankings might actually sharpen this shit.
Yeah, we got an idea here.
Yeah.
You know what?
really
That's
feel
a fair
this way?
point. No, well, look, I think Superflex has poisoned my mind where it's like I value quarterbacks just so much higher now, even if I'm in a single quarterback league, and it's just so fun to have like fucking Jaden Daniels on their team. So no, probably not. If I'm staring at Josh Allen or Jackson Smith and Jigba, I probably would take Josh Allen. But
Janson's going to win you this league, Craig.
what if I don't have any receivers yet? And when it's the 3rd round, I don't know.
Should this be our previews? Is just absolutely shredding each other's rankings until they're actually really how we would feel.
It's May 5th, and we're like, why do you have this guy 30 spots ahead of this guy?
Dissing your dog, we can call it. Here's
That's
the
actually
deal.
pretty good.
The Palms isn't taking reservations, and I hear that has a new chef. Oh, also, you're a fucking dog.
The last person here I want to talk about, unless is there anyone else you guys? Well, actually, there's 2 people left. Sorry. I want to just quickly touch on AJ Brown, who was number 2 in yards per route run last year. So on a per play basis, AJ Brown's as talented as anybody. But the Eagles were just dead last in pass attempts.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, he just got outshined by Saquon. So I'm curious, do you guys have AJ Brown in this tier with Brian Thomas, Neighbors, Nico, Puka? Or are you just like, oh, they're going to run the ball? Or is there a world where AJ Brown wants to shine? I don't know if you guys saw, he proposed to his he proposed to his girlfriend, brought John Legend in to like do the piano and everything, put it on Instagram. It's pretty great. Kind of wondering if AJ Brown's going to like try to steal some of the thunder back from Saquon this year.
But maybe now he's got nothing to play for. Now he doesn't need to impress his fiance.
Oh, that's a good point.
Right? Like now she's committed. So he's like, all right, I can chill now. He got paid. He has his wife. Now
You stop working out.
Stop working out. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, that's a good
You
point.
have a girlfriend. You know what I mean? No, I think he's in that range.
Yeah. I think there's a world in which they have to throw more this year too.
I think he's the end of that
defense
tier.
takes a step back.
The last person here, and then we can get to some dumb stuff. Christian McCaffrey, 22nd overall. I don't think there's a number anyone can put that I'm going to say good call. Like I don't. You could convince me any ranking for Christian McCaffrey makes sense. This is like a top 3 most talented player in the NFL when fully healthy, who has Achilles tendonitis in both legs. And I don't know what to put on that.
Can we wait to rank him until after week 1? Is that allowed?
Put TV we'll wait till 90 minutes.
Industry? Is it kosher to do that? That we just don't rank him at all?
McCaffrey is one of those guys that wherever you draft him and however much you spend, it's wrong. In either direction.
Yeah.
But it will be wrong. Just know that.
Do you think he's gonna be a situation where he falls because everyone's afraid to take him, or he goes higher than everyone thinks because it's going to be just someone's like Christian McCaffrey? I'm taking Christian McCaffrey.
No, I think he's definitely going to fall, and it's way more likely that he goes for way more. He goes much more cheaply than he should. Is my guess.
Yeah,
I mean, the everyone is going to be so gun shy. I mean, the fact that like there was kind of no reports about this, and then week 1 he's out, and then he just doesn't play for 10 weeks.
Yeah,
no one's going to draft this guy.
That's not true. Because this is where I'm like, idiot. No, you know why?
Because some people don't pay attention, Craig.
The person who will not draft him ever is the person who had Christian McCaffrey last year. That person is so intimately scarred by how it went down with McCaffrey being scratched on Monday Night Football. The other 9 or the other 11 people in your league, those people are like, oh, I'm the genius who's going to get Christian McCaffrey now, and he'll be healthy for me. So that's why, like, DK, you have McCaffrey ranked 28th. I think that functionally is saying you'll never get him. There's no chance to me that Christian McCaffrey falls past 25 in drafts. I think there's a lot of drafts that'll be like a top 15, 16 pick, and people are going to be like, wow, I'm getting McCaffrey with my second rounder. And so I'm not saying that's smart, but like, McCaffrey, dude, once you get to the 3rd round, I'm like, dude, he's Christian McCaffrey. That's kind of like, sometimes that's just how leagues are won. Sometimes the story of the league is just, I took McCaffrey in the 3rd round and I didn't whiff on my first 2 picks, so I won.
Maybe. I mean, this is probably highly dependent on the news that comes out of training camp. If it's like he looks great and everything's fine, he'll probably shoot up the ranks. But I think it was more famously a story last year. I think it's more than just like the guy who drafted him had the worst year of his life. Everybody kind of knew that this was like one of the biggest fantasy calamities ever. I don't know. I don't know if like there are going to be people who now think he's a bargain.
I think the answer is right around Bucky Irving. I think that there are some people going to be looking at Bucky Irving and Christian McCaffrey.
Right around Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Yeah.
Who are you going to take, Craig? Jackson Smith and Jigba or Christian McCaffrey?
Do you want one of the best fantasy players in fantasy football history, or do you want like
the
Bucky
Seahawks
Irving
slot
and
receiver?
Jackson Smith and Jigba?
Yeah.
How old is McCaffrey? He's 29.
Yeah.
Yeah, he will be in a month.
Not 1, but 2 Achilles injuries.
I don't know, dude. I don't know.
Oh, it's going to be interesting for sure.
Okay.
This was a good place to start. Do you guys feel excited for this fantasy season?
It was fun to make the ranks, to be honest.
Just a reminder, everyone, we're going to have episodes like every week throughout the whole offseason, and we'll touch on dumb stuff too. And then we're going to have, stick with us because we're going to, ramp up for the whole season, and then 4 episodes a week during the season. Yeah, don't touch that dial.
Look over there. Look at your dial. Don't fucking get near it.
Hand away.
Find the dial. Stay away.
We're going to get to, we have some dumb emails and stuff, but something serious just happened while we were recording. And because it just happened, I'm going to read. So Adam Schefter just posted that the Ravens released kicker Justin Tucker. They drafted kicker Tyler Loop in the draft. And Adam Schefter says the organization continues to insist it's a football decision. I'm going to just read exactly so we don't get sued.
A football decision? What does that mean?
I actually think it's more embarrassing to say that.
Extremely. So they're releasing him because they're basically saying, yeah, we don't think he's good anymore. It's not because of anything else.
Right. We don't actually care about the accusations. We just he sucks at football now. That's all we're like.
If he was good, we would be standing by.
If he made 5 more kicks last year, he'd be on the team.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they just say, considering everything, just say that? So I'm just going to read this just so we don't get sued. Okay, this is straight up quoting from ESPN. Even though the Baltimore Banner broke the story. Tucker has been accused of inappropriate behavior by 16 massage therapists from 8 Baltimore spas and wellness centers, according to the Baltimore Banner. All the incidents reportedly occurred during sessions from 2012 to 2016, Tucker's first 5 seasons in the NFL. And again, that's quoting ESPN. So yeah, I actually think it's humiliating for the Ravens to put in this thing just the football reasons.
And not only that,
why would you say that?
Reading Schefter's tweet again, it says the organization continues to insist It is a football decision. So people are literally
Please don't write it in the paper that it's
throwing them the alley-oop of saying, hey, I'm assuming this is not just for football reasons. And they're like, no. It is just for football reasons.
Do not say that we cared about that. Take that out.
Oh, God.
Wild. Well, we're on light subjects here. So Donald Trump had Goodell in the Oval Office today, which looks like the Palace of Versailles now. And Goodell got to stand next to him because they're announcing that the 2027 draft's going to be in D.C., which is where I live, which I do. They're going to be doing the mall. It's a good
How does it
idea.
make you feel that D.C. is completely not set up infrastructure-wise to host the NFL draft? There's no way they can handle this, right? They're expecting like 500,000 people to hang out on the mall, apparently.
Heifetz, how do you feel?
Huge.
Let's recreate this.
Mall.
We're recreating the Forrest Gump scene, right?
The mall is very large. I don't know if you know this.
Who's going to meet in the middle? You know the scene? Did you guys watch Forrest Gump, right?
I got to tell you,
Sure.
I have seen Forrest Gump, but
Jenny and Forrest.
Were you saying when she runs through the water?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll announce a pick that way.
I thought you were going to say they were recreating another large gathering in DC, but no.
Just
oh God! I thought you. I was
took
like,
him a second.
I was. What was that? Forrest Gump 2 when they did the J? He was like an integral member of the J6 thing.
Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump inadvertently organized January 6th. Anyway,
and then wait, Heifetz, how do you feel about they announced that the new Commander Stadium is going to be at the RFK
$4 billion
spot, right?
to put the stadium downtown, or not downtown, but where it is a mile from the Capitol. It's so RFK. So I don't know if people are interested in this, and we can cut this if it's boring. But basically, a stadium that needs to be remained. RFK, his father. The stadium sits in DC in the most incredible real estate in the city, like a crashed outer space, like a spaceship. It is like this rusted hunk of stadium that just sits across from this golf course named Langston in the 8th Street neighborhood of DC. That it is like unfathomable that such a large tract of land, like 1 mile from the Capitol building, could be unused. And so it sat there for like 30 years since Washington stopped using it. And it's going there. So it's always a little controversial, these stadiums, because obviously, the gentrification is going to be out of the, it's going to completely change that neighborhood. Like I'm sure the, LA by the Clippers new stadium and SoFi, that whole area is going to change too. So that aspect's going to be different. But dude, the Landover sucks. I'm sorry to Wes Moore, who's been on the show, but like, dude, the Landover Stadium's horrible. Northwest Stadium's horrible. It's literally leaking shit. The rails, like the people flying over, the first thing Josh Harris had to do when he took it over is fix the plumbing. That stadium sucks. They should have a better stadium in the city. It's also, I thought it was an inevitability that stadium would get built because it's a grift factory. All these stadiums are just like catering to the 1%, like Yankees kind of started it with 2009, that new Yankee Stadium. And like, it's catering to like, the corporate class of like Goldman Sachs as clients. They want to take their JP Morgan as clients. They want to put them on the home seats. That's where you make your money, is on the richest clientele. Who has more money? Who needs the luxury suites more than the DC stadiums? It's kind of like LA, where it's like Staples Center, or what is it called now?
Crypto.
That's hilarious. But like CAA needs like a suite at that, they need seats. Like Northrop Grumman and like all these defense contractors, like all the lobbying, they need to pay. They will pay anything for these suites at this new stadium. So I think it's going to be extraordinarily profitable, like probably the most profitable one in the country, honestly.
When is it supposed to be built?
I don't know, probably like 5 years. But the flip side, they're paying for a lot of it, more than most stadiums, which I think is probably related to the federal aspect. It's like, the Bills can just rob Buffalo blind and no one gives a shit. But like, it will become a thing if Josh Harris pays, if they kind of robbed it, because the DC is like federally funded. It's a whole thing. I don't want to pretend to know how it works, but long story short, that stadium's probably going to be really cool. It will definitely be an incredible grift because it's going to be like 3/4 of a mile from actual, like the literal Capitol building. But overall, it's cool for the city. I do think it's cool that the city's going to get that stadium.
How far is the current stadium from DC?
Oh, no. It is in the city. It's on the water. Like I could walk to it from, I live like 10 blocks from the White House. I could walk to the stadium in 40 minutes. I could walk there. It is more or less walkable for most people who live in DC.
Not where they currently play.
Oh no, where they currently play? Oh my God, it's horrible. It's like an hour drive.
Oh, is it? Okay.
But it's like one of those.
It's like Santa Clara, Craig.
Do we have a word for a drive when you get to a stadium where it's like an hour to get there, but then you're like there and it's like another 30 minutes to get in?
SoFi? We call that the SoFi.
Yeah, like you're there. You can see the building, but you're like 40 minutes away. It's like that.
Yeah,
So
it'll
anyway,
be fun going to the Super Bowl next year. I've never been to the Niners' new stadium in Santa Clara, but it's
I have
not
not
close
either.
to San Francisco. Like, it's
No.
not.
No. So I don't know. Do we want to keep? Did anyone give a shit about anything I just said? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I also have to shout out Goodell standing next to Trump in the Oval Office, just once again doing the Homer Simpson meme into the hedges. And Trump says, literally, I'm quoting Donald Trump, the courts have all of a sudden, out of nowhere, said maybe you have to have trials. End quote. And then Goodell starts like shuffling out of the frame. Incredible. Anyway, while we're here, I just want to read from Pro Football Talk. Bill Belichick, whose book is coming out this week. I think this is probably the big news of the week. So we're recording this Monday, May 5th. Belichick's book comes out tomorrow, May 6th. And Belichick seemed...
What's it called?
It's The Art of Winning. Hold on, let me...
You know what's funny is he told in that interview, that CBS interview, he said he had other ideas for the title, but like his publishing team or whatever, like went away with it because they were too boring. His titles were so funny. It was like,
Didn't
why
even
I
call
like
it
football.
Really?
Yes, they're so good. Oh, I wish I could find it.
Wait, pull it up. The real title is The Art of Winning. Yeah. And but obviously the funny thing that I saw was Belichick apparently knows his publicity plan isn't working. He's looking for outside PR help.
My title choice would have been How I Did My Job.
How I Did My Job.
Who talked him out of that?
How I Did My Job is so good.
How I Did My Job. I will say, someone speculated that Jordan Hudson ghost wrote the book.
Yeah.
I don't know. Kind of thought.
Mm-hmm.
I will say
for like a class project, like a book report situation.
Yeah, it was for masters. I will say though, the Jordan Hudson thing, the more I keep thinking about it, I kind of forgot that Burge Najarian, who's worked for the Patriots, kind of ran Bill Belichick's life for like 20 years, and now he works for Bill O'Brien. And I kind of think Belichick just needed someone like that. And that's kind of where we're at.
She clearly still supports him wearing sweaters filled with holes. That
Dude, the hole, it was
he
so
wins that
his
argument.
brand, Craig.
Yeah, she's okay with that.
Yeah.
Ugh.
That's a non-negotiable for Bill.
We'll see. I have the book coming tomorrow. Maybe I'll read it. I'll give you guys a review. I'll try to find the things that should have been the title.
Should we do like reading time and you just read a chapter out loud to the audience at the end of every show?
Oh, that's good. We could bank it. That's good. I'll do a Belichick impression.
Yeah. It's a tease to pay for the audiobook tier at Spotify.
Can I give a random also take while we're here?
Mm-hmm.
Please.
We need a new word than boyfriend. Like in English, husband and wife, if you're engaged or fiance, there is no distinction. There's no distinction between a 13-year-old boy dating a 13-year-old girl and a 74-year-old Bill Belichick. Like, he's my boyfriend.
Well, there are a lot of
fucking
words.
74.
There are a
What
lot
about
of
partner?
words for it.
Partner?
Okay, but partner is like a level of, like, it's hard enough to define the relationship these days. Partner is like a serious thing. There is no, like, I think this is a thing like a lot of people go through because it's like, so people, divorce rates are obviously, it's different than it was 100 years ago. I have a lot of friends whose like parents get divorced and then like, oh yeah, this is my dad's girlfriend. And she's like 71. My dad's friend who is a girl. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like we need a new word for this.
Paramour, lover.
That's pretty good actually.
Partner. No, that's less sexual actually.
But partner, you know what I mean? Where partner,
no, I said partner. Like if you like Western, like Old West. That doesn't really work.
Partner.
So you're basically like you can't be old and have a boyfriend or a girlfriend. Is what you're saying?
Well, you're a man.
You're not a boy.
You're not a boy. You're
a man.
You're getting Social Security. If you're eligible for AARP, you're not a boy or a girl. You're like, that's ridiculous.
Lady friend.
Lady friend's creepy. Lady friend is tough. Anyway, I can't be alone on this. Email us at Ring of Fantasy Football if you have a better idea. Okay. A couple emails. I know I'm just ranting now. This email's from Barry.
B.
Barry writes... Bear guy. Barry writes, just ate 3 eggs, 2 rice cakes with peanut butter, cinnamon, ginger, and honey, along with a granola bar for breakfast.
Ooh, okay.
I like that. Just trying out, do we want breakfast, what people eat for breakfast and the thing.
I like the rice cake move.
Yeah. Barry says, was listening to the 2025 Rookie Dynasty episode, Travis Hunter conversation made me think, if Travis Hunter's in your lineup as a receiver and gets a pick 6 as a cornerback, do you get the 6 points for the touchdown? Should you?
Absolutely.
You don't, but you should.
I think you should.
Yeah.
I think you might have to edit the rules so he can. You should. If your player scores a touchdown, you should get it.
Getting in the end zone.
100%. Because like if you have a receiver who's returning punts and he scores you get that touchdown.
Yeah.
That's not on offense. Like, what's the difference?
I agree. All right. Well, that was easy. That was mostly I wanted to know the breakfast thing. Okay. This is an important thing. This is from Caleb.
C-Bone.
Is it with a C or a K?
Well, that's what it's about. He's with a C. So I was talking last week. I was arguing that Caleb Johnson, the Iowa running back the Steelers drafted, would like not be that cool of a player if his name was Caleb with a C. But it's
C
Caleb
is
with a
much more
K.
common.
I'm going to be honest. Heifetz called me the other day because he was trying to decide between Caleb Johnson and somebody else in a dynasty draft. And he kept saying Caleb Johnson. And I was like, who is Caleb Johnson? Because I was picturing it with a C.
Dude, I do that too.
I literally am like, when I'm not reading it, I lose track of who this person is. Caleb
who is
Johnson.
that?
It's like
My
a
brain certainly,
quarterback?
I
What is
definitely
that?
searched it for names in my brain with like Command F in my brain. So when Craig said Eric Burns earlier, I looked like Burns, like Corbin Burns. And I was like, who?
Oh, yeah,
And then I was
BY.
like, and then I Googled it. I was like, oh, Eric Burns at the, oh, I remember this guy.
Mhm.
Anyway, yeah, no, Caleb. Anyway, so Caleb wrote in. Finally, something I can weigh in on. I want to confirm, as I am a Caleb with a C, that Danny Heifetz is right about Caleb with a K being way cooler. I went to high school with another Caleb. He was named Caleb with a K. I am Caleb with a
Sick.
C. I know.
That guy was probably rad.
Caleb with a C writes, even though I was the better athlete and overall nicer person,
Okay,
Caleb
so
with a
maybe
K.
he wasn't rad. Okay.
Caleb with a K swept up with all the 10s in our school while I sat on the outskirts.
Swept up with all the 10s.
Caleb C writes, even the girl I dated for 2 years started talking to Caleb with a K while I was with her. I legitimately
Yikes.
considered changing my name to Caleb with a K.
She's like, Caleb, she's like, C-Bone, I'm sorry, but there's something about the K. That sounds like a Seinfeld episode. You
It
know?
does. It does.
There's something about the K.
So Caleb with a K had Riz, is what we're saying here.
Oh, yeah.
We should
100%.
have definitive rankings of all the names that can be spelled different ways, like Jeff and Jeff. Like we should come up with rankings of all of them.
Yeah, I like that.
Like Jeff, Jeff, right? That's, I mean, rather than Geoff.
Yeah, I think so.
Unfortunately, like that's just, those are the breaks.
Yeah.
Them's the break.
Them's the breaks.
This one's from Jim.
James.
I don't know, Jim. We got an email, Jim.
Jimmy.
Oh, do we? Jim writes, last week's episode where DK said Chapel Roan and Craig recommended the song. Apparently we did the exact same thing 3 months ago.
Yeah, we do this all the time.
Where
Our
Craig
lives have been
thanked
lived
Chapel
1,000
Roan.
times, even by
Craig,
us.
yeah, exactly. So Jim writes, a few months ago, DK
Time is
shouted
a
out.
flat circle.
Yeah.
It had to
is.
have been more than a few months ago. This had to have been like
Right.
9 months ago.
A while.
I hope.
A few could be anything.
It felt very familiar. I'll say that.
DK shouts out Chapel Roan. So this is Jim's email. Craig mentioned that he loved the Chapel Roan song Super Graphic Ultra Modern Girl. So I listened
Great
to that
song.
song. The next day, I was able to significantly impress a girl by telling her that I liked that song.
Nice.
Which is definitely a less popular one. We're still together and it's going well. And I'm pretty sure at least a
Oh.
portion of it is due to Craig being a wingman from afar.
Wow.
Much appreciated, brother.
I got you. And look, this Jim his name is spelled with a G, and he's still doing well. So that's
Yeah.
good. Good for him.
Boom.
No, that's
Should we
awesome,
bring
Jim.
up Chapel Roan again in like 3 months?
Yeah. Every time we mention Chapel Roan,
Spam it out.
an angel gets its wings. People emailed us. Did we miss the gorilla conversation thing? Didn't we? I'm so sorry. I had that last time. I was going to talk about it, and we didn't. And it would have been perfect timing. And now we're a week late, and it feels like we're trying hard.
It's a little-
You know,
yeah.
the
It's a
can
little
100 guys
contrived.
kill a gorilla?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was
I
the
don't know.
argument? Can 100 guys
Can
fight a
100 men,
gorilla?
100 people
yeah.
kill a
Who
gorilla?
wins? It was men,
100 men kill a gorilla.
right? Wasn't it men?
It was men. Yeah, 100 men kill a gorilla.
The answer to that is yes.
Yeah, obviously yes. I can't believe 100 people.
Yeah, 100 people
I
can
think
kill a
the
gorilla.
only argument that gets me is if you think that the gorilla killing 4 people, the other 96 just fuck the lemons and bail.
Yeah, right. It's there's an implicit understanding that like everyone is in this till the end. Like everyone is no one is going to bail.
Yeah, but what about okay, so you have 7 or 8 guys fighting the gorilla at one time, and then they're all dead. You can't fight 100 to 1. It's like 6 or 7 at a time.
But the way I think of it is, if you just get 3 guys on one leg and 3 guys on the other leg and 3 guys on one arm and 3 guys on the other arm.
Can you physically do that though? I feel like there's
you
not
go
a
right
room.
at his eyes. You have like you bum rush him with 10 right at once, and then you have another guy sneak around the back, claw out his eyes,
flank him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Craig,
it's
Craig,
like,
we're gonna have you do that. You're gonna claw out his eyes. Okay?
Also,
why me? I don't want to do that.
Craig, I claw on Horlbeck.
You jump up on his back like you're Legolas and claw out his eyes.
I also think the gorilla would get tired. Those are big animals.
Dude,
they require a lot of energy. That's real.
I don't think they would win. I think the gorilla would win.
You think the gorilla would beat
100
100 people like John Wick?
Yes.
No way.
100?
I guess there is still room to go in this conversation.
I agree. The gorillas are about 10 times stronger than you. So
yeah, but that's the thing.
I feel like you can't get more than about 10 guys on a gorilla at a time, and he's going to be
number to me is
murdering
it's just
you.
Per leg. Like, think about just grabbing the per leg, like just per limb. At some point,
I don't think logistically you're going to get 3 guys able to get on a leg at the same time. It's a great plan, but once you get punched in the face, it's like Mike Tyson. Everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face. When you're getting your neck bit by a gorilla and blood splaying everywhere, you're not going to be able to grab anything. It's too slippery.
I genuinely think the gorilla does not have the stamina to fight 100
I mean,
men.
the idea that the gorilla could kill... I mean, think about the gorilla killing 50 people.
The stamina.
Could the gorilla kill another...
Dude, if it's one thing I learned when I was in Africa, it's that these animals, when they hunt, they have to rest for a long time. It's why they eat these big meals. Like, they have to sit and sleep for, like, they sleep most of the day. Like, lions mostly just sleep, and then they get up and hunt, and it requires so much energy. These are, like, hundreds and hundreds of pounds,
their hunts are
animals.
miles long.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, 100 human beings, a gorilla killing 100 people is so much work and energy. I don't know if it could do that.
Should we do a poll? We'll be the last people to talk about this. The last defining poll. No, that's the thing. We're like the final one. Everyone's heard about this for a week, and you're tired of it. Like, now you can vote. Everyone's heard all the sides there is to hear.
Yeah.
Is it 100 of our greatest warriors, or is it like 100 regular guys?
No, you don't get to pick. Because they all... You know what's bad?
So I feel like if it's 100 regular guys, the gorillas clean it up.
We got beat to it by the team accounts. Like, the fucking Giants had... They're like, can I have 100 Dexter Lawrences? And it's like, no, you cannot have 100 Dexter Lawrences. You're getting 100 dudes.
If you could handpick the people...
Taysom Hill.
What is the smallest number of people that could beat the gorilla if you could handpick?
Like UFC fighters.
You can take it. Like, what's the lowest amount of people if you hand selected them that you think could kill the gorilla?
I think like 10 Navy SEALs, no question. Probably
Navy SEAL.
Like,
no, come on.
I mean, people who are super trained to kill, because they're
trained to
go
kill
for the
with
jugular
fucking
and shit.
guns and knives
and hands.
Not their. I mean, okay, sure.
You think
yes.
they have no idea what to do without that stuff?
No,
Ricky
they do, but I'm okay. They're not UFC fighter. I think a UFC fighter would beat a Navy SEAL in a fight.
Sure. Well,
so I'd rather have a UFC fighter.
Yeah, but UFC, it's like you can't go for the eyes or the nuts, and I think Navy SEAL is gonna, they're gonna do that real quick. UFC Navy SEAL combo. I think 12 people who like really know. I think they're gonna be able to do it.
This is a funny conversation, actually.
Craig, what is your answer here?
10 Navy SEALs versus a gorilla. I'd take the gorilla.
Every time.
I could do it. They like know what they're doing. I think a huge part of the 100 needing the 100 is people are just fucking jabronis. They don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, but also, are the Navy SEAls allowed to plan? I think this exercise
they're
is
gonna know what. Yes, they're gonna know what to do.
I thought you're just like dropped into a pit with a gorilla.
They can make a plan.
Not if the gorilla's angry.
I feel like Craig is changing his answer here.
Well, there's 100 versus 10 is a big difference to me.
Sure.
Do you think?
I think a small group of highly trained, highly organized people is better than like 100 completely untrained people.
Yeah. I guess. Do you think 10 Navy SEAls would kill 100 men?
Probably.
No.
That's implying they could win 1 on 10.
No way. No fucking way.
Maybe. This is like, it's just an elaborate version of that question. Have you seen that video of the 3 pro soccer players versus 200 children?
Yeah.
It's like that.
We should do a segment where like every week we talk about a trend that took place a month ago.
What color do you think the
should,
dress is?
It should be called like Under a Rock or something. Or like I just got back from Europe or something.
I like that. Got back from my darkness retreat.
That's we just look at this is honestly appropriate. This is like DK discovering Sabrina Carpenter like a month ago and singing Espresso to himself.
Yeah, like on the year anniversary of that, like is the dress white and gold or blue and black or whatever? Like we just do that a year later.
I like it.
I like that.
Let's make a
That's
list.
actually email us things we should talk about
Wait,
from like
so
previous social media phenomenons.
What was the general consensus based on the last week of conversations that 100 men could beat a gorilla?
I think yes. I think
You know what I want to hear from the people who say there's like they can't? I want to know what the fucking number is. You say 100 can't. I want to know what number you think can.
I don't know. Maybe 100 could. I don't know. If they all jumped on at the exact same time.
It's like a Batman movie. It's kind of like you're just waiting to get killed.
What if they just squished it?
You know that scene in Pineapple Express when Seth Rogen like fucking flies off the second railing onto that
death
lady
from above?
Like,
Yeah.
If 100 of them can do that.
If we got 100 guys like parachuting in and landing on the gorilla at the exact same time, then I think that might work. And squish it to
I don't
death.
think that. It's Call of Duty drop. Okay, emails. Vote in this poll on Spotify. Email us ringerfantasyfootball@gmail.com. Other like really old internet arguments we should have from like that we're super late on.
Did you guys? What was your opinion on the dress?
I never saw the blue and black.
I saw blue and black. I think.
I think the answer of what happened with your eyes. I don't think that changes over time, right? It's just like it's the same. It's just how you're wired in your brain with your eyes.
Yeah, that wasn't really an argument. That was just more of a
interesting scientific fact.
Yeah.
This is from James.
J-Bone.
I know. Speaking of things we're late to, James is like, speaking of things we're late to, James was like, I know I'm really late on this, but I had a good one. And he says about like parents lying to kids. The first time I ever had to use a handicapped bathroom stall, I came out and I was a child and I asked my dad, hey, what are the bars on the side of the walls for in the stall? And my dad says with zero hesitation, oh, those are the push bars. You know, sometimes you have a poop, but it's trouble coming out and you need to push. So those bars you grab onto so you can push even harder. And so you save that stall for when you have serious poops. Flash forward.
Honestly?
Yeah.
Maybe does the dad actually believe that? Maybe I feel like he might.
I don't know. But 5-year-olds, he said, James says to 5-year-old me that checked out. Flash forward, field trip, years later. I'm waiting for a stall. All the other ones are open except the handicap stall. My friend's like, what are you doing? And I was like, I have to use the push stall. I have a serious poop. And his friends never let him forget it.
And that's not that. That guy was kind of basically on the squatty potty corner before they'd even invented it. Like that's essentially what he was making the case for.
Yeah, I thought that was.
Have you guys ever used a squatty potty?
I have.
Yeah,
I got to say they make a difference.
They do. It does change the form. It does change the
trajectory.
Yeah,
we should all be pooping from a catcher's position, really.
It's true. All about them angles. It really is different.
Give it a shot.
Do we want to? Yeah. How deep do we want to go into this?
Well, not too deep, otherwise you get wet. But yeah.
Oh.
Can I run one other thing by you guys that happened to me this weekend?
This water's cold and deep.
Best joke ever.
I think Craig's dad does that
every time we're at a urinal.
Every time they go to the urinal.
Yeah, he's next to me at a urinal. He always goes like 3 seconds into the pee. This water's cold. And then I laugh. And he goes, and deep.
I think about that every time I go to the urinal now, Craig.
It plays. It always plays. Use it on your kids. It's great. It's honestly such like a Fletch joke or something. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like such a 80s cheesy dad joke. This water's cold. And it works every time because it's funny. And then it's like, even though they know it's coming, it still works.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, DK. Thank you, Craig. Thank you, Kai. Thank you, Carlos. Thank you, Austin. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Email us ringerfantasyfootball@gmail.com. What did we want?
Oh, what do we want? The gorilla? People vote on the gorilla.
Oh, yeah. Vote in the gorilla poll. And then email us. Did we want names that are spelled differently? No, we just talked about this.
We're gonna rank the names that are and how they're spelled.
Yeah, give us a
one.
list of names that are spelled differently, and then we'll rank them.
Okay. There was and people later listen to the show. They probably remember. No, that's fine. Yeah, do that too. Whatever Craig said. Sure. Thank you, Lauren.
Lauren.
Thank you, Sabrina Carpenter. Someone I've definitely never shouted out before. You know.
Oh my God!
You should have just said Chappell Roan again.
Dude, Sabrina Carpenter was at SNL this week.
Craig, do you have a favorite Chappell Roan song?
Dude, super graphic, ultra modern girl. It's a good one. Sabrina Carpenter is really trying to make herself an SNL personality. She's really pushing.
Yeah, I think that of the pop girlies right now, I think Sabrina Carpenter is the one most like interested in being like famous.
Yes, definitely. I agree with that. Everybody, you have to pick a lane. You know what I mean? Like Chappell is going the more like alternative, kind of like fuck the man. And Sabrina's like going full like A-lister. I'm going to be on screen doing everything.
She's going to be like hosting New Year's Eves and like stuff. Like she's going to do everything.
Yes. I mean, she was an actor. You know, Chappell Roan wasn't.
Yeah.
I just associate Sabrina Carpenter with the movie Anyone But You.
What?
Why?
Because I think there was one of her songs in that movie.
Oh, really?
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But I associate it. Let's check.
Like the Unwritten, I remember was the big song in that movie, right?
Yeah,
they sing Unwritten.
That one too, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. I did not see Anyone But You. Did you like the plot, DK?
Yeah, it was a great plot. Great actors.
You only watched it for the plot.
You watched it for the plot?
Amazing actors. They put on stellar performances. No, it's one of those movies that's just like, I want to go and enjoy the scenery in Australia with very attractive people.
Enjoy the
around.
scenery.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sabrina Carpenter not on that album. Olivia Rodrigo, bad idea. Right.
Mm.
Well, I
so
don't know
not
where
Sabrina
I got
Carpenter
that.
nor Chappell Roan. You are now talking about Olivia Rodrigo.
Look, we all have
love
different
Olivia Rodrigo
experiences.
in our house.
I don't know where I got that.
I think Olivia Rodrigo with the pop girlie, she's the one who's clearly like a writer. Like she's clearly like writing, you know what I mean? And I think Billie Eilish loves like, I think she has the biggest appreciation for like music is Billie Eilish.
Yeah,
Rodrigo's the writer. But Billie
We're in a
Eilish,
good
like,
spot. We're in a great spot with young pop stars. We're being ushered into a new era. We're in safe hands.
It's like what they always says about the NBA. They're like, yeah, the league's in good hands.
Right.
You know, pop is in good hands.
Yeah. Speaking of Warriors, they did it.
Oh yeah.
Jar.
Dude,
my guys.
I got to tell you, what the fuck is up with Draymond hitting people in the face?
He can't help himself.
Dude, I got to tell you, the game 5 of the Rockets Warriors series, and I think most people probably know, but obviously Draymond has like this crazy history of just lightly beating the shit out of people on court, basically. Just kicking people in the balls and hitting people in the face.
The most famous one ever, perhaps, is Rudy Gobert, who they're now playing.
I think Draymond bothers me deep down because I think that's how I know I want to play basketball. Is like exactly like him.
You mean
I want to make everyone angry.
Actually, how you play?
Yeah.
From everything I've heard, that is how you play.
Yeah.
I feel like you're making your dream has come true because that is how you play.
Yeah, you and Draymond are the same.
Diving at people's shins.
There's no differences in your game.
I don't remember who said it, but somebody explained Heifetz playing basketball, just diving at someone's shins in a rec league game.
Yeah, he's playing the
fucking
wrong
loose
sport.
ball.
It's a
loose ball.
The cable guy. I just picture Heifetz as the cable guy. Do you guys know that scene? Jim Carrey from the Cable Guy. He's just like a fucking maniac on the basketball court.
Calm down,
It took
Greg.
me a
It's
long time.
It's soccer.
It took me a long time to realize that I treated loose balls like they were fumbles, and that other people did not
touch my puck.
Yeah. I never really understood why everyone was so mad about that. And I kind of realized years later, it's like, it's not a fumble, I guess.
Just imagine Heifetz can like hear like a soundtrack in his head and everyone else, it's just like the squeaks from the floor and stuff. And everyone's just like, what the fuck is this guy doing?
No, honestly, I have a heavy tread. You know, I got my feet, I have like really flat feet and I kind of clop like a Clydesdale without all the elegance. So I actually shout out Richie Bozek. I clop. Shout out Richie Bozek once, who I once deflected, like he had a transition, like, you know, one of them, like, you know how like pick up, like if you're doing full court, if you're like ahead enough on a fast break, people don't really run for you. You know what I mean? He went and had an easy, like full court layup. And I just started running after him. I was like 30 feet behind him, but he heard me coming like I was Cam Chancellor.
He heard footsteps.
And he missed the layup because my footsteps were so loud. He thought I was right behind him.
Heifetz is like Terry Tate, the Office linebacker. That's what he's like on about. People are like, I'd rather just not have the ball.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, it's like the mirror, like, object closer than it appears.
I love DK naming Sabrina Carpenter because he thought she was in Anyone But You, and he just wasn't right.
You know what? Look, I'm really, really highly connected to current events in pop culture. So,
and you've watched that movie, what, 10 times now?
Yeah.
Just a couple scenes?
Yeah. Just a couple scenes. Yeah, actually, you can just watch the highlights on Mr. Skin or whatever.
There's a shower scene. That's really good.
Goodbye, everyone.